Good evening. I would like to call the March 18, 2025 Planning Commission meeting to order. Please note this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city website and by teleconference via Zoom. I would like to remind the planning commissioners to have their microphones turned on in position so the audience can hear. Director Monique, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Worth is absent with notice. Commissioner Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Chair Beamsterfer,
Here. Commissioner Hill, can we do invocation of Flag Salute, please?
We'll do invocation first.
Lord, we ask that you bless this meeting tonight and give us the wisdom to make the best informed decisions for our city. In your name, amen. Join me with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item number 4 is public comment period for items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public present that would like to comment on an item not on the agenda?
Chair Beamsterfer, I did receive a request to speak form from Alex Badrani.
Please approach the podium.
Good afternoon. I was here like a year ago. I'm from the recycling Go Green that we're trying to open in the city. And since a year ago till now, we got the extensions that we asked for. I want to thank you for that. But after that, we went to, we worked on 7 months. We did what we have to do. Then we went to the city. We were ready to start construction. They stopped everything. And now they told me I have more comments. Regarding that, for 3 months, I didn't hear from the city. Nobody told me anything. And now when I paid, I got a contractor, I got a construction company. It's gonna cost me in construction over $1 million. We paid a deposit to start. Now they stopped everything for me. On my deposit, I might lose with the company, because I told them everything is ready. When we want to do construction, we did that, and they said now you have more comments to go. For 3 months, they didn't tell us anything. We didn't know about it. So that's now another delay for me. And plus, I went to speak with the city. I spoke, I have his name written down. I asked him that I need help from the city. I'm at a point where there's no more money. I don't know if you guys remember last time. His comment was back to me, well, sell us your property and we give you cheap rent. I was like, if you guys needed the property from the beginning, why did you even buy it? At this point, I'm going on 5 years to open my business. So there's something going on. There's like a conspiracy or something going on. Somebody in the city doesn't want me to open my business, or they want that property. They're making it really hard for me. So I just need to see what can we do, because I really need to start. Going on 5 years, I don't see any other business for 5 years dealing with the city. No, like I have the construction company, I have the property, I'm doing everything I can. Oh, and to top it off, I got a letter from Americo, the code enforcement, sending me, you have to fix this, you have to fix that, you have some graffitis on your wall. If you guys please tell the guy to leave me alone just for a second. We're trying to get everything. I have everything ready, but the city stopped me now because I have more comments. And it's just things that nobody told us about. They said you're ready to go. We went over there to get all the permits so we can start construction. Now we have more comments.
Director Monique, I know we normally don't do this, but can you expand on that? Because I know Commissioner Clark has been mentioning this over and over in several meetings.
Just so you know, probably every planning commission since you were there, I've asked about this.
Yes, she has.
Yeah.
Ask where it is, what it is. I even tried to reach out to your architects.
No.
And I can't get you to call me back. I left you a message, and I've been very curious about what the obstacles are, and I have been very concerned for you, genuinely.
I really appreciate it, because It's been going really bad for us as me and my uncle. Like, he was in the hospital because he got, something diagnosed. I don't want to say, because I was in the hospital 2 weeks ago because I almost had a heart attack from the stress. And I have all the papers if you guys want to see it. I'm going through a lot. I really need this to get going. I owe a lot of people money. I cannot express enough how much I owe a lot of people money. I need to open this. I found some other investors that they can help me with the construction. I have the contractor over here with me that I paid them already a deposit. I'm telling you, it's gonna cost me over $1 million in just construction, just to get the building as the way the city wants it. That's not including me bringing my machines and opening my business. That's a whole different story. But we cannot keep every little thing. Oh, you have a comment. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I got letters from America. You gotta take the graffiti out. Your palm trees are a little bit over. You have to cut them. We're getting rid of these palm trees. The city doesn't want them. Why you want me to pay money to come and fix the palm trees? Oh, you need to do this. Oh, if you don't do it, well, we can take your property through court because you're leaving it and you're not going up to code what we need you to do. And again, I tell them, you cannot do nothing. You cannot take my property away. I'm being really nice with you. I'm being understanding because I got better things to worry about than you and your graffiti. If it bothers you that much, you come kick out the homeless. I'm not here. I don't live that close. I don't live that close. I fix it, the homeless are gonna come and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. If I start construction, then a lot of people gonna be there. We're not gonna have homeless. And I already promised you guys, the minute that we open, it's gonna be the best looking building in the area. I'm not gonna say in the whole city, but in the area. But just give me a chance to start. Somebody please help me. Because at this point, this is my second time I'm sitting over here begging. I'm not here to beg. I paid a lot of money. I don't do the begging thing, but I'm being nice. I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a son, to come sit over here in front of you guys and beg, please help me. I'm not asking nothing for free. I'm not asking that. I'm just, work with me. I want to do everything by the book, but work with me. Everybody, you go to the city. I go ask for help, and the help is sell us your property. Then we'll give you cheap rent for 20 years. Why I want to sell you my property? Why I want to sell you my property? So for me to sell you my property on top, so now everything will work fine, I'm still going to have to fix everything the way you guys wanted to do. You guys are not going to pay for it. But this cannot keep going. I'm really, at this point, I'm seriously trying to get on hold of the mayor and sit down with him and explain to him what's going on. 5 years. 5 years. Come on, 5 years.
That's Jackie
Gone through
Peterson.
5 different mayors in 5 years. Director Monique, can you expand on, I know we've been asking and you've been giving us update with engineering. Can you expand on this for us?
Yes, Chair. Let me, if I can look into this to have more information for the commission. But what I would like to do is set up a meeting, if it's okay with Mr. Pedrani, so I can help facilitate whatever the coordination issues are, or what we're working through. I'm sure we can usher moving this forward, because yes, we did receive the extension of time, and I know that on the back end of the process, it's quite, it's the final processing of plans can be sometimes complex. But I want to at least meet with Mr. Medrani and our city staff to see if we can come up with solutions to help move it forward and for permit issuance. And then I would like to follow up with the commission with the report on what happened in that meeting. If that's
Could we
okay.
have an update in the next meeting?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I would like you to forward the name of the city employee to Monique.
Okay.
Okay.
So whenever the meeting that you want us, just let me know anytime, any day. There's no problem.
Okay.
I'll cancel everything I have just to come and meet with you, and we'll try to move forward with this, because it's just I don't know what to do anymore.
It's not the normal structure. We talk like this with a public hearing, with a comment, but we've been here, we've heard you already plea a year ago, and Commissioner Clark has been just
Sick.
aggressive about getting answers for you. So she's been fighting for you for this last year about getting updates, what's going on. So definitely, I appreciate your public comment.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank
And
you so
your-
much. I
your
really
voice
appreciate it.
is
Thank you,
going
guys.
for you.
heard.
So how can I just get hold of you with the day, or Okay, you got it? Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other public comments?
And answer your phone. I work at True Value, so you can find me there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other public comments?
I don't have any further request to speak forms, and I do not show anyone online requesting to speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item 5A is the general plan process report, progress. Report 2012 through 2024. Director Monique.
Okay, thank you, Chair, members of the Planning Commission and the community. I'm Monique Alanis Flater. I'm pleased to report our general plan progress report for 2024. The strategic plan integration for this general plan progress report includes quality of life, partnership and collaboration, organizational effectiveness, economic opportunity, and community engagement. So every city and county in California is required to have an adopted general plan to guide the long-term development of the community, prepared in accordance with detailed statutory requirements. The City of Hemet general plan establishes the fundamental policy framework to guide decisions related to land use and development, public services and facilities, public safety, resource management, recreation, culture, and overall health and quality of life in the community. The general plan presents a vision of the city's future and embodies goals, policies, and strategies to turn the vision into reality. The plan is comprehensive yet flexible, responding to emerging trends and challenges. It is a long range, looking ahead of the next 20 years. Currently, the general plan was adopted in 2012, and it goes through 2030. The general plan has currently 11 elements. Those elements are the land use element, community design, circulation, community services and infrastructure, public safety, open space and conservation, recreation and trails, historic resources, art and culture, the housing element, and a recently adopted environmental justice element. State law requires that the city submit an annual progress report of the general plan to the City Council, to the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, and the Housing and Community Development Department, HCD. The main purpose is a periodic review of the city's progress, so this is a report card, in meeting its general plan vision. And it is also provides the city opportunity to adjust or modify policies to ensure the city's meeting its goals. So the information that's included in this report includes the purpose of the general plan, adopted general plan amendments since 2012. In Chapter 3 includes 2024 approved general plan amendments, a community profile, and housing element progress. The 6th and 7th chapters include implementation programs completed or underway, as well as recommended programs to continue forward for 2024 to 2025. In 2024, the city adopted the safety element, the environmental justice element, and the housing element. I'm just going to touch lightly on each one of those. The safety element was in 2018, the state passed Senate Bill 1035, which requires the public safety element to be reviewed no less than once every 8 years and revised as necessary to address climate change and resiliency strategies. The intention is also to identify information related to flood, fire, and climate hazards not available during previous revisions of the safety element. This year, or in 2024, the council also adopted, as part of the safety element update, the inclusion of a climate vulnerability assessment. In 2016, the state passed Senate Bill 1000, requiring cities and counties that have disadvantaged communities to incorporate environmental justice policies into their general plans through the environmental justice element to help improve air quality, food access, safe and sanitary homes and public facilities, as well as equity in housing access, promoting physical activity and active transportation, including civic engagement, education growth, and preservation of our culture. On June 26, 2024, the California Department of Housing and Community Development certified the city's housing element for 2021 through 2029, which was adopted by our council. This is a comprehensive statement of the city's housing policies and serves as a guide for the implementation of these policies. As required by state law, the update examines current housing needs, estimates future housing needs, and establishes goals, policies, and programs that pertain to those needs while demonstrating the capacity to accommodate our regional housing needs assessment allocation, which was 6,466 new housing units that is broken down into various income categories based on the median family income for Riverside County. Is part of the housing element. In the report, you can find a summary of the housing element implementation programs in the chapter, Table 9. The chart here before you provides you a snapshot of our progress in meeting our housing goals, and it is divided into the various income categories. Since 2021, the city of Hemet has built, and this includes a final occupancy of 1,446 residential units. This does not include any housing right now that is currently in the pipeline, entitled, or under construction. Since 2013, as you can see in the bar graph, we have had an increase in growth. And since 2021, you can see that it's an upward trend in residential permits. Currently, we have a total of 30 residential entitlement applications in the pipeline. Of those, 4,735 units have been approved through subdivision tract approvals. 962 of those within this pipeline have been built, and there are 1,721 residential units pending approval that will be brought to the Planning Commission, with a total of 5,494 residential units approved and pending in the progress in the pipeline. The recommended implementation programs that are more of a carryover from prior Planning Commission recommendations, but I did include inclusion of housing element programs to maintain, to maintain our housing element programs, to implement some of the housing programs, as well as the roadway congestion systems evaluation, analysis of signalization throughout the city, revitalization of the downtown, tourism and economic development. I'm just summarizing a few. The actual report has more of an expanded explanation of recommended housing general plan goals. Economic development, implementing and continuing to implement the Hemet Rises strategy that was adopted by council. as well as Hemet Beautiful Landscape Guidelines and Standards, which are in much, our landscape and our code is in much need of an update. Inclusion of updated development impact fees, looking at the goals of preserving and maintaining and looking at opportunities for open space recreation, bikeways, bike paths, pedestrian trails, and off-road trails, as well as recreational opportunities for camping, aquatic, and hotel programming in the Diamond Valley. With that, it is respectfully requested that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the 2024 General Plan Annual Progress Report to the City Council to be submitted to the Governor's Office of Planning and Research and the State Department of Housing and Community Development. I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation, Director Monique. Does the commission have any comments or questions?
I did have just one. So where in this does it speak to landlords that do not keep up their housing? Because we have a pretty high percentage of landlords that own many properties, and they are very, very poorly taken care of. And it's not in assisting them because, believe me, I'm sure that they can fix it themselves since they own hundreds. So that's I think I said it last time we discussed this. I really have a problem with the slum landlords. They give him a bad name. They make us look bad. And there is no discussion about moving forward so that the people that are forced to rent these horrible homes are ensured their safety and well-being is taken care of. So that's my
That's an excellent comment. That is absolutely aligns with the not only the housing element but the general plan.
Right.
So I will take that as a recommendation to include health and safety for housing and maintaining cleanliness.
anything
And
that's I mean, because they have the rights of a roof over their head and the basic needs. And I know for a fact one of my coworkers is living in a below standard. And, the landlord's got him over a barrel. You don't like it, you can move. So and it doesn't matter what color skin, what color nationality, it's none of it. We need to get our housing stock brought up to a certain level. And that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark.
Do you mind if I bring this in?
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, Monique. Thank you for that report. Would you say that we are on plan to the RENA numbers, given the time period that we have to meet those goals? Are you comfortable with where we're at right now?
As part of our reporting to the state, the city can only build what the developers are building. So there's always it's important to note that the city doesn't necessarily have the control to build. It's the developers who are building the construction right now. So we report that to the state. I would say that we need to look at our affordable housing component. We have not met that, and in order to report housing or affordable housing, it has to be built. We are letting them know that we're in the pipeline. We've let them know that there are certain projects that are coming forward, so they're aware of that. And all we can do is just report that and be transparent to the state that we are trying to facilitate pro-housing policies in the city. And through this report, it outlines what's pending, what's still on our list to do, and how we're accomplishing that.
Okay. And do they do an evaluation and get back to you in writing on that, on their findings?
I think we're going to see a trend of the state looking at our reports and our compliance more closely, and especially with the certification process that we underwent was extensive, and they are looking for specific areas within our programs that we are following. So we do have those items on our program, on our work plan, and we're recommending that some of those housing programs that are not only the low-hanging fruit, but the ones that need to be looked at. It's just the staff capacity and expanding our housing programs and our housing division. But we are on track.
Okay. All right, this next issue is kind of just getting your opinion on it. I just want to kind of bring this out publicly, but this is concerning the housing element and the safety element. I mean, we're looking at all these RHNA numbers that we've been provided to meet. We're not the only city that's received these numbers. And, you know, where along the line as a safety element that we look at the water capacity baseline and understand what the threshold and objectives are of those levels for safe housing, you know, for the expansion of housing and businesses. I mean, what's the tipping point to say, hey, you know, there's a safety issue here with all this housing going in. We're going to run out of water.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. As part of our housing element analysis, there is a water capacity analysis provided to ensure that we have looked at that, not only through the general plan, also it was analyzed through the housing element. I would be happy to come back with more information on reporting on our water capacity as
Okay.
it relates to our population.
But what about an integrated approach throughout the entire Inland Empire? I mean, we're not the only city that's going to expand. I mean, how does that get folded into the analysis?
That's a great question. In terms of water capacity, we do a water capacity analysis, and we look at the city's resources as well as groundwater that we provide for that we have primarily for the city here. So we are, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, self-certified for water resources. So we're rich in water resources. However, we do look at that for
We weren't, though, and we've brought it back up.
right.
And
So water.
You know, that to me is just took a
Yeah.
long time to get it up here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing that report.
Absolutely, and then that is also available for the public too, who is interested in that information. Not only is that is in our certified housing element, there is a water capacity analysis as well as in our general plan. It should, should members of the public also wish to look at that.
So my thought off of this is, can we, like the mitigated line, can we say March 2025, the capacity at Lake Hemet is X, Y, and Z. EMWD has X, Y, and Z. We have a population of all of these qualifying factors, including rain totals to date, and having it be documented where we are, either up, down, sideways, whatever, so that we have a mitigated level that says, look, what's left up at Lake Hemet at this time can only allow for X amount of households
In population.
and in the population, because then it becomes a health and safety issue to me. And I've been trying to rack my brain on the water, because the water, we're not the only ones. Indio's got to have it, Palm Springs. There's got to be other cities that are saying, well, okay, but we don't have the water. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, there's got to be a number out there that says, hey, wait a minute, you hit this number,
Yeah.
we got a safety problem.
And we need housing. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying to be a real person, not a political person in Sacramento saying this is what you got to have. You know, great. We can't truck water in. The aqueduct's doing all it can right now, and they're working on it right now, but it has a capacity. So tell us, you know, and having a baseline once every year, whether it be at this time or by June, what the snowpack level is up in Big Bear, or, you know, all of these qualifying measures that make a good decision on a huge housing project. Okay, I wasn't off my soapbox, sorry.
No, thank you, and if that's okay, I'll add, just looking at, you know, some of the recommendations I'm hearing is looking at, you know, our water resources, you know, especially with the drought, and looking at our population growth, just ensuring we have a management plan in place, and then just to make sure that we're following our management plan.
Because even your high fire zones border a lot of, and even though in the report it's being diminished because we're putting these homes, but the potential for catastrophic then is also an issue. And look at Pacific Palisades or Santa Rosa or any of those things that we've had in the past. So if I'm here and I'm supposed to look out for the public, that's my soapbox.
Thank you, Monique.
So I'll ask the same questions as I did the last time we had this report. I'm always focused on downtown. So with the safety element and the downtown focus, and some of the buildings have structural concerns, some have cracks in walls, some could be sinking. What is the city's approach to fixing or working with the safety element aspect of downtown?
Yes, so with the public safety, we implemented the 2022, or we adopted the 2022 California Building Code, the 2022 California Fire Code, Energy, Green Building Standards, and we adopted those, and we are looking at, as we look at structures, we look at the integrity of it. We have hired a building official fire marshal who is overseeing the management of our building, Department of Life Safety division. And so when new development comes in or new permits come through, they're always reviewed in accordance with the California, the building code requirements for retrofits or infrastructure requirements. So in terms of, like, if there is for example, if you have a tenant improvement, they're going to have a structural report that's tied to the development of that new improvement, should there need to be structural improvements done in the downtown.
No, definitely, because I know, so you adopted it, but how much of it have we enforced with downtown?
When a new business comes in, if they have a change of occupancy or they're doing tenant improvements, it's always implemented. Our building codes are always implemented through the building plan check process and permitting process.
And some may not be new businesses, though. Some are existing businesses, and the one I brought up a couple weeks ago was it's sinking. There's proof and there's evidence of the building sinking. and that's a massive concern for safety element. And I brought it up last year when we had this report, and again, that's why I say, how much of it are we enforcing? Because nothing has happened. They haven't evaluated that. They haven't looked into it, and there's other spaces that are existing businesses that have cracks in the walls. So it's not necessarily new business, it's existing businesses that have the issue, safety element issue too. And I just want to, just for public record, just to bring that up, because I say it every year, that there's some concerns with downtown and the structural, and I know if we get a good earthquake, there could be some problems. And there's one other question. Oh, do we have an ad hoc committee for tourism?
I don't believe there's one at this time, and pardon me if I'm mistaken, but we don't have. I think there's been discussion of perhaps having an economic development ad hoc committee of some sort. I'd have to follow up on that to see where that's in
I
the
know
process.
it was written in the
Yes,
in
it's on the
report,
plan.
so-
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions anymore. May I have is that a motion? No. Just recommend the approval of the 2024 general plan progress report.
I recommend the approval of the planning commission, or that the planning commission recommends the approval of the 2024 general plan annual progress report that needs to go to the city council.
Was there a second needed?
Need a second.
I'll second.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that passes 3-0.
Okay, item 6A, conditional use permit 23-002 for Freddy's Restaurant. Associate Planner Soledad.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, staff, and members of the public. I'm Associate Planner Soledad Carasoza, and I will be presenting conditional use permit 23-002 for Freddy's Drive-Thru Restaurant. The owner is Zoab Salim for Hemet Quack 22. The previous owner, which was the applicant, was Navy Federal Credit Union, and we are going to be updating the conditions of approval in the resolution to reflect the current owner. The agent is Scott Yorkison, and he is present. And the location of this CUP is the northeast of the intersection of West Florida and Costin Avenues. We have the APN. It's 1.59 acres gross. And the description is the applicant is requesting approval of conditional use permit to construct a 2,459 square foot Freddy's restaurant with a drive-through on 0.59 acres, 58 acres. The conditional use permit pursuant section 9042-4 of the Hemet Municipal Code it reveals that the Planning Commission is responsible for the review and approval for conditional use permits. Approval of a conditional use permit is subject to findings. Here we have the project setting. The setting is 1.59 acres of undeveloped property. On April 25th, 2023, the Community Development Director approved minor site development review 22-013 for a 3,392 square foot express car wash on 1.01 acres of this 1.59 acre site. Pursuant section 90-48.1 of the Hemet Municipal Code, the Community Development Director has authority to approve minor site development review applications. The approved Quick Quack Express Car Wash has most permits approved and is working with engineering for final approvals. This proposed Freddy's Restaurant is proposed on the remaining site of 0.58 acres, just to give you a little context. Here we see that the general plan land use shows that this is a community commercial for the general plan. The zoning is C2, which is general commercial. And here is an aerial view showing the location of the project site. To the east is where the Quick Quack is approved within those yellow lines, and then to the west is where Freddy's is proposed. We have a site plan to show the location of the proposed Freddy's as opposed to the approved car wash. And this slide shows the elevations for the proposed Freddy's restaurant. The next slide shows the floor plan showing the seating area, the counter, order and pickup area, and then the rest is food prep, office, and refrigeration area. We also have a landscape plan showing the drought-tolerant plant palette and also water-saving irrigation proposed for this site. This plan shows the queuing for Freddy's, indicating the area where Freddy's would, the queuing would start, and then the pickup window. A drive-through queuing analysis was prepared by Linscott Law and Greenspan engineers and reviewed by the city's engineer traffic consultant to evaluate the potential number of vehicles in the drive-through queuing lane. Observations were conducted at the following 3 Freddy's locations with drive-throughs. One at Norco, one in Fontana, and one at Victorville. The observations were done on a Thursday at peak hours and one on Saturday, November 9th at peak hours. Table 3 of the analysis indicates that on Thursday, November 7th, between 11 and 2 and 4 and 8, all 3 locations were observed at 5-minute intervals. 6 vehicles were the maximum number of vehicles at any one time. 1, 2, and 3 vehicles were the most common observed at all 3 locations. Table 4, it shows the observations for Saturday, November 9th, 11 to 2 and 4 to 8 at all 3 locations, 5-minute intervals. The maximum number of vehicles observed were 7, and they were at 1 location. The most common observation was 1, 2, and 3 vehicles at all 3 locations. So the conclusion of this queuing analysis shows that the 3 sites experienced an 85th percentile range between 2 and 3 vehicles. And based on the empirical data, the expected queuing of the proposed project will likely be 3 vehicles or less 85% of the time. The proposed 10-vehicle drive-through lane can accommodate the observed maximum of queue of 7 vehicles, which only occurred 1 time throughout the survey days. Additionally, condition number 10 states that prior to the certificate of occupancy, an alternate or backup circulation plan shall be submitted to community development if peak volumes exceed the anticipated demand, for example, during the a grand opening event. The findings required for conditional use permit are stated here. The proposed location of the conditional use permit is in accord with the objectives of this chapter and the purposes of the zone in which the site is located. The proposed location of the conditional use permit and the conditions under which it will be operated and maintained will not be detrimental to the public, health, safety, or welfare, or materially injurious to properties or improvements in the vicinity. Third is the use and operation is consistent with the general plan elements, goals, and policies, and that the type, intensity, sensitivity, and operating characteristics of the proposed use and the manner in which it will be located on the site are compatible with existing land uses, the character of the established neighborhoods, or planned developments in the vicinity. With regard to the California, California Environmental Quality Act, this project is exempt under guidelines 15332 and infill. Class 32 projects characterized as infill development infill development meet the following conditions. The project is consistent with the applicable general plan designation and all applicable general plan policies, as well as the applicable zoning designation and regulations. The proposed development occurs within the city limits on the project site of no more than 5 acres, substantially surrounded by urban uses. The project has no value as a habitat for endangered, rare, or threatened species, and approval of the project would not result in any significant effects relating to traffic, noise, air quality, or water quality. The site can be adequately served by all required utilities and public services. A public notice was provided on March 6, 2025, where the city gave public notice by advertising in the press enterprise and by mailing to property owners and tenants within 500 feet of the holding of the public hearing at which the project would be considered by the Planning Commission. To date, no comments have been received. It is respectfully recommended that the Planning Commission adopt the Planning Commission resolution approving the conditional use permit subject to the development plans and conditions of approval, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the State Clearinghouse and the Riverside County Clerk. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer, and also the applicant is here.
Thank you so much, Soledad. Thank you so much, Soledad. Does the commission have any questions for staff?
I have one. Soledad, thank you for that. Freddy's drive-through, is that a chain?
It is.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
I do have a question. The trees. So, are they aware that the Marina arbutus is going to drop strawberry down by the drive-through? That's one of those trees that have cute little red strawberries that come up, and they drop, and usually it's in the fall when it gets squishy. And so I'm just throwing it out there that you might want to reconsider a different tree if you don't want the upkeep to be messy looking. And I would like to make sure that we have the trees as shown. I don't think it's a 24 by 24. I think they're more like a 36 by 36 box. I would like to see the trees be from a 36 stock. I think you'll have a better improvement, and we definitely need the shade certain times of the year. It's probably going to be a more cost, but the trees on the side, if you change, you might be able to get a better bang for your buck getting more. I don't know. But look at that tree very closely because it can be very messy.
We can discuss with the applicant maybe alternative landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
when that time comes.
Yeah, but other than that, great.
I used to work at a building several years ago that was just west of that, right next to the property, and they used the trees to get on top of the building and live up there for several months without us knowing, the homeless, because those trees were accessible to the buildings right there. I don't have any questions. I think the architect looks good, the circulation looks good, the food looks good on the menu. And may we have a motion?
Oh, boy.
Okay, I want to make a motion to approve the
Oh,
condition.
I'm sorry. I have to make sure to have public hearing. With that, we're going to go ahead and open up public hearing. Are there any members present or online that has a comment?
Chair Beamsterfer, I do not show anyone online requesting to speak.
Okay.
I
with
did
that-
receive a request to speak, but that was from the applicant, and he's just here to answer questions. So no, I don't have any other communications from the public.
Do we have any questions for the applicant? No? I think everything looks good. With that, we're going to go ahead and close public hearing and ask for motion.
So now I'll make my motion to approve the conditional use permit 23-002 Freddy's Restaurant for the approval of a 2,459 square foot quick serve restaurant and drive-through. Was there more? Oh, adopt, okay, that was the planning commission resolution. Let's start again.
Please do.
Okay, I want to make a motion that we recommend that the planning commission we adopt the planning commission resolution approving the conditional use permit 23-002, subject to the development plans and conditions of approval, and to direct staff to file notice of exemption with the county clerk and the state clearinghouse.
I'll second that.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that motion carries 3-0.
Thank you very much. Item 6B is the conditional use permit modification 23-001 for quick serve restaurant with drive-through. Again, Associate Planner Soledad. Sorry.
Thank you. The owner is Bassaron LLC. And the applicant is Marks Architects, with our contact being Gabriela Marks. The location is 2880 West Florida Avenue. We see the APN on 0.63 acres. The applicant is requesting approval of conditional use permit modification 23-001 to modify conditional use permit 20-003 for the construction of a 2,500 square foot quick serve restaurant with drive-through. The Planning Commission has authority to review and approve conditional use permits per section 90-42.9. Here we see the general plan land use showing the community commercial designation. We have the zoning map showing the general commercial zone. And on this slide, I think this is it. Let's see. Thank you. We show the aerial view of the proposed location. We see Kirby Avenue, Florida, the Gibble Park, and then just to the west of that, the proposed site. We have the site plan indicating on from Florida Avenue, the vehicles would enter and then immediately go towards the right, left, and then enter into the queuing. They would exit the queuing and then exit on Florida Avenue. This slide shows the architectural elevations. And the proposed building is 2,500 square feet, 1 story. The landscaping is shown on this slide, indicating the location of trees, shrubs, ground cover, as required by the Hemet Municipal Code. And this is all on site. We're showing this slide again to indicate the queuing capacity, indicating there are 8 vehicles in the queue. And there was a queuing analysis performed or prepared for this location as well. It was prepared by Trams Solutions and reviewed by the city's engineering traffic consultant to evaluate the potential number of vehicles in the drive-through queuing. A specific restaurant has not been selected to determine the potential queuing, but 2 restaurants with similar square footage were surveyed to determine the maximum queues during peak hours. The survey was conducted on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, during the peak hours of 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. at 5-minute intervals. The locations that were observed were Kentucky Fried Chicken at 2890 West Florida Avenue, which is a 2,500 square foot restaurant, and El Pollo Loco at 2830 West Florida Avenue with 2,400 square feet. There is a drive-through factor that is determined by correlating the square footage of the surveyed restaurants with the maximum observed queues as shown below. So we see KFC showed a maximum of 4 vehicles, and the square footage of the restaurant, so the 4 vehicles are divided into the square footage to get the drive-through factor of 1.60. The El Pollo Loco, the 4 vehicles were also observed at any one given time, and that was divided into the square footage, which gave the drive-through factor of 1.67. So the average was 1.63. The analysis went on to show that by applying this drive-through factor to the proposed project, a theoretical maximum queue of 4 vehicles has been determined. And that's by taking the 2,500 square foot proposed building with the drive-through factor, which is equals the 4 vehicles. So the proposed project would have enough stacking for approximately 8 vehicles as it's being proposed within the drive-through lane. Therefore, the occasional peak during peak, the drive-through lane is anticipated to adequately accommodate these queues. The analysis is based on maximum queues surveyed at the existing locations. These maximums occur infrequently. On average, the observed queues were considerably less. The analysis periods represent the busiest times for the restaurants. At other times of the day, the queues are not anticipated to be as long. If additional stacking is required, vehicles can stack within the drive aisle and not impede the flow along the public roadway system, as concluded by Trams Solutions. These findings are similar to the previous project findings for conditional use permits as listed here. This project, as the previous project, is also exempt from CEQA as an infill Class 32. And a public notice was given on March 6th, 2025 by advertising in the Press Enterprise and by mailing the property owners and tenants within 500 feet of the holding of the public hearing at which the project will be considered by the Planning Commission. To date, no comments have been received by staff. It is respectfully requested that the Planning Commission adopt the Planning Commission resolution approving conditional use permit modification 23-001, subject to the development plans and conditions of approval, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the State Clearinghouse and the Riverside County Clerk. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Soledad, for that presentation. Does the commission have any questions for the staff or concerns?
No.
I don't either. With that, we're going to go ahead and open up a public hearing. Are there any members present or online that would like to make a public comment?
Chair Beamsterfer, I do show Gabriela Marks requesting to speak. Ms. Marks, go ahead.
Not meant to take a whole year and 2 months to process. The project
Ms.
was
Marks, we
moving very.
just started hearing you over the microphones. Can you start again, please?
Of course, thank you. I want to commend Soledad for her help on this project. We went through 3 planners on this project, and we had a really hard time getting phone calls returned and getting the project to go anywhere. But when Soledad got engaged on this project, she would actually get up and talk to the engineers after I call her for a status, and she'll give me a status the same day. I have very few times in the almost 30 years I've been doing this work with a planner that was so proactive as Soledad is. So I just wanted to make a comment on that. The project was a CUP modification. We do feel like it took a lot longer than it should have. But we're excited to bring this project to Hemet. My client, as soon as this project gets approved, is going to start marketing to get a nice tenant to be in Hemet. My client owns the KFC next door. And I just want to thank you for your time and reviewing this project. And if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions?
No questions for the applicant.
Me neither.
No tenants in the future?
Can you still hear me?
Do you have any businesses that are interested in opening up a restaurant at that location?
Not at this point. He didn't want to go ahead and start marketing it until it was fully entitled, because he has been burned in the past with having leases that don't go through because the projects don't get approved. But he's going to start very actively looking for a tenant now. And he may, there's a strong possibility that he will just build a shell and find a tenant with a shell.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other public comments?
Chair Beamsterfer, I do not show anyone online requesting to speak, and I did not receive any e-comments.
All right, thank you very much. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And may I ask the commission for a motion?
Hey, maybe McGill's Jr. will go in there.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, I will make a recommendation to adopt Planning Commission Resolution Attachment Number 1, approving conditional use permit modification CUPM 23-001, subject to the development plans Exhibit 1A and conditions of approval Exhibit 1B, and 2, direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the State Clearing House in the County Clerk.
I second it.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that motion passes 3-0.
Thank you very much. City Attorney reports. City Attorney Layla Sawari.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just wanted to share a recent case I came across for the County of Santa Barbara. A landowner objected to a neighbor's use of an existing easement to transport cannabis grown on an adjoining parcel. The County of Santa Barbara had granted the neighbor a conditional use permit for cannabis cultivation, determining that the easement was an adequate transportation route. The landowner challenged the permit, but appeals to the County Board of Supervisors and trial court were unsuccessful. So the Court of Appeals had decided that they wanted to side with the landowner for 4 reasons. Reason number 1 was that the court determined that the right to exclude others from one's property is a fundamental vested right. This meant the trial court should have applied the independent judicial review, not the substantial evidence standard. Reason number 2 was that the court emphasized that the cannabis remains illegal under federal law, making its transportation beyond the legal scope of the easement. The county relied on the Civil Code section 1550.5B, which the court found was invalid because it could not override federal restrictions. And reason number 3 was under the Business and Professionals Code, all landowners affected by commercial cannabis activities must give explicit consent. This included servient landowners whose property was used for transport. And finally, reason number 4 was that the court ruled that an agricultural easement does not extend to illegal agricultural activity since cannabis transportation exceeded the original intent of the easement. So they found that the CUP was invalid. So
Wow.
it was in January 2025.
That
That's
makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that report. Director Monique, may we have the community development reports, please?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. And how about future agenda items, Director Monique?
Future agenda items coming before the commission include the billboard ordinance as well as a fencing ordinance.
Okay. And last, planning commissioner reports.
Commissioner Clark.
I have a couple things. We didn't have minutes. We didn't have minutes to approve.
Yes, typically staff has a little bit more time because we had a special meeting,
Oh,
which was
okay.
just last week. So they will be included in your next agenda packet.
Okay, all right. And so I had spoken to you guys about, or when we were in Santa Rosa, about a guy I went to school with at Little Lake who happened to have a business in Eureka, which is where I spent 30 years. And he walked in Tuesday after we got back. And it was like I should have bought a lottery ticket. That was the weirdest thing. But anyways, he wanted to know what was going on in Eureka, or in Hemet, because he was having a problem with, he owns the water rights up at Echo Hills, and his family has for generations. He's had people squatting on his land, taking water out 2 and 3 in the morning. And so we went to go put up a fence, and he got red tagged by the city of Hemet because we didn't have a permit for a fence. But he was trying to make it look nice and keep these people out of there. It's private property. And the city has an easement to come in and come onto his land. And he was just dumbfounded about how the city looked, how it was just the general feel that he had. And you have to remember, Eureka had the same problem Hemet has. And he owns a business. In fact, I carpeted all 4 of my homes up in Humboldt through his store and didn't know we even went to elementary school together here. And he is a developer. And I said, well, come to Hemet and develop and help. And he said, no, he's got his money tied up in Humboldt County. But he said there has got to be more pride, I think was more of it. I asked him to come speak tonight to y'all. But he was just adamant of the fact that he thought Eureka Hemet looked horrible, and we need to clean up our act. So, that's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
So I'm going on vacation for the next 2 weeks. I think I will miss the next planning meeting the beginning of April. The next, what's the next planning meeting is April what?
1st.
April 1st? I will, really? Okay, yeah, I will be absent on that day on vacation.
Okay. Chair, in that case, when we don't, because of the number of commissioners, we'll have to make sure that we have a quorum of a minimum of 3 for that meeting. So if not, we would have to cancel the April 1st meeting.
What, you don't trust just Jacob and I to?
Do rock, paper, scissors. And vote
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
We'll just communicate with Commissioner Worth, make sure he'll be here
Okay.
for that meeting.
Okay. And there's no public hearing items scheduled for that agenda. Just wanted to advise that.
Okay.
That's it, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Chair Beamsterver?
Well, March 26th is the grand opening of Vallarta's, if I say that right, the Mexican market that's coming into town. April 26th is Hemet Beautiful. And just yesterday, Commissioner Clark and I were here at a public hearing on reference to 118 North Harvard Street. And it was, it was good to be here, hear what the public had to say. And the one thing that kind of alarmed me is the new owner of Eagles Brew, his name is Kyle. He came up and expressed his frustration with the city and the city manager in general in trying to get a certificate of occupancy. And I hope council listens in on that hearing so that they can kind of hear what he had to say. I'm not sure why that was an issue for him between trying to get a certificate so he can open up his business. He spent a lot of money, almost $8,000, and to be kind of pushed around like that is not professional. Also, the Lion and Acacia area is getting torn up. We're getting new roads putting down, so I'm excited about that because right by the school district, it's pretty rough if you go down Lion. So they tore it all up today, and it's exciting to finally have that area repaved and redone. And I have nothing else to report. So with that, with no further business to discuss, this meeting will be adjourned to the next Planning Commission meeting scheduled for April 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m.